Um, Hello everyone. This is a much harder video for me to make, mainly because it's about a server that was very important to me. It's called the LOVA, and I feel as someone who's been a part of the server for over a year now. I'm pretty sure they had their anniversary, maybe like a week or two ago. I'm not sure. But I wanted to share some like my thoughts, some concerns, and like my overall criticisms on the LOVA. Um, because I feel like I can't hold these back like anymore than I should. Um, so the first thing I would want to mention is it's a bit of a smaller issue. Um, and with being a voice impressionist server, uh, you need like media to start out, and I'm pretty sure when the LOVA first started its server, really the only media could like the only media you could like audition for was My Hero Academia. And mind you, I'm pretty sure My Hero Academia was pretty popular at the time of the LOVA starting. Um, and of course, as they grew more and more, they're going to add more media. Stuff like Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, and Chainsaw Man. You know, three very well known animes or medias that are very popular. But I think amongst the smaller voice acting slash impressionist uh like community, I think that those four are like very repetitive like amongst these groups. Yes, I get that My Hero Academia uh is very popular. So is like Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man. I get that. But I feel like that the selection is very narrow-minded. Uh I think it appeals to a certain group of people. I think it only appeals to those fans and specifically. It's not reaching out to others. Uh yes, My Hero Academia is one of the most popular animes of the 2010s. Jujutsu Kaisen, same thing. Demon Slayer, same thing. Chainsaw Man, maybe not as popular, but has been gaining more notoriety uh, as time went on. But I feel like there are some like popular animes or media that are more popular than these four. And I'm not saying this as a bad thing. This video is not a hate video. This video is a like criticism video on the LOVA. And as someone who has been in it for a long time, like I just said, I wanted to bring these opinions forward. Um, uh, there are so many more animes that are, I think, in my personal opinion, much more popular than these four. I could probably name them off the top of my head. There's Bleach, there's One Piece, there's Dragon Ball, Naruto, mainly like the big four. Like those are very much popular. Hell, I think maybe Hunter x Hunter could be there. I'm not sure, but like there are still so many medias that they could pick for. And hell, I'm not even limiting to just uh to just anime. Mario's a lot more limited. Sonic. Uh, let's see. Kingdom Hearts. I don't see people do Kingdom Hearts, which is I'm not a big fan of the series. I'm not saying that is a bad thing, but I think Kingdom Hearts is a big franchise. Uh, my point is that there are like a ton of like IPs that they could use, and I think that limiting yourself to just those four is kind of bad. Yes, there have been some talk about like actually Rin has added these like some of these medias before, specifically the big four. Like I said, Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, and Dragon Ball. And I'll get into this in a later, but they just weren't as active as the others. And I think they could fix that more. Okay. Uh, I have I have some opinions on their content. Like for example, I think that their content is, in my personal opinion, gotten stale over like the past few months. Uh, and uh, they and from what I've seen and what I've like remembered over the past few days, they only seem to do skits and lives. And while yes, I do agree that like skits and lives are very like entertaining. Um, I think like it's kind of stale in my opinion. Uh, and as someone who has worked behind the scenes for lives, um, for the lives they have like they have a specific like orientation for how you do things. Um, it starts off with like do a like game, not a game, yes, a game that like multiple people know. Okay, for example, Rin really likes to start off with murder mystery, which is fine, but me and a few others have expressed that murder mystery gets like boring, like what as a starter very quickly, and I can't help but agree with that. Um, there are like so many more popular games on Roblox than just murder mystery. Yes, it's iconic, but if we're going based off popularity, there are so many more that are iconic. For example, Jujutsu Shenanigans. I know that like I'm a big fan of Jujutsu Shenanigans. It's one of the most fun games, probably my most played game of 2025. But they choose to start with this for one reason or another that I do not know. Maybe Rin just doesn't want to spiel the method to me. Uh, in terms of the actual like skits, um, they have one very good editor, and I'm saying very good because he has shown that like he has like great potential for like video editing. And that's TLB Skits. TLB Skits, I love you, man. If you're watching this, thank you. And he is the one good editor like on the team. Yes, it takes some time, but like editing a video will always take time. That's not an understatement. Uh, for some videos that I've made, uh, like way back when, it would take me like at least a few days to finish the video, like, and make sure that it's good quality. And some of the other editors, uh, they they cannot like well, the editors in general, besides like TLB skits and let's say Mason. Mason is also a very good editor. He's consistent. And I feel like what is missing is that the editors that the LVA has vary so much in quality and consistency that I think that like TLB and Mason just are like the main appeal. And another thing is that uh like I just mentioned with Rin uh deciding to start with murder mystery, I understand that like yes, appealing to an algorithm does boost you on like TikTok and stuff like that. Like but also sometimes it kind of kills like the creativity and the fun that there is with like it kills creativity when you try too hard. What I've seen from the past like months of like other content creators, uh they try so hard to appeal to an algorithm, they slowly lose their creativity. And that's not an understatement. Like just look at any Fortnite news channel. You'll understand that like they hit certain marks. But when where you need to be creative, those marks should not exist. All right. Uh, and on to some of the on from that note, some of my concerns about safety are a lot bigger than the others. And that's because like safety is a really big thing when you're building a community. Uh, in the past, from what I've seen, some of the mod team does not take their job with air quotes because it's not an actual job. They don't take their job seriously from what I've seen. I know for like the last 3 to 4 months of 2025, I was gone. And like yes, I can admit to that. But there are still like some people that were on the moderation team that do not take the job seriously enough. And um I feel like this should be like something that is warranted. Like and they should be called out for it. Maybe in like in a private setting. Do not go out and like blast someone if they are like talking light on a situation because that just leads to drama. And speaking of like moderation, moderators should be more experienced than just being like a simple moderator for like a small server. And I feel like it would help more in that like holding interviews for like what you do as a moderator, what do you bring to the table? I feel like that's one people miss out on a lot. Um, like instead of, I feel like moderation is like way too lenient. Like from what I have seen and experienced, it feels very lenient. And I've seen some people get approved in like months. And yes, while I agree, uh, uh, maybe someone in months already had experience. I feel like they should be here for like more than like a month or two because they really need to get a hang of like the community. Like get their hands on the community and like really see what like helps and what doesn't. And I think this one is a like this next one is a much simpler, but like very much needed one. Favoritism should not be expected when it comes to a punishment. Even one of my good friends, Stella, I do have to admit, she has shown favorites at time, whether it be towards like moderators and cast members, and even Rin. Rin has even admitted that she has shown favoritism towards some people. And this, what I'm about to say next, is specifically aimed at Rin and Demise. If you're watching this far, thank you for like listening to me. Uh, please, please, and I beg of you, please stick to your own terms. I get getting advice from other uh like groups could help you, and I'm not denying that. Uh, but please remember your own terms, your own stuff. If you have quite like offensive, almost like dark humor-ish kind of humor and your fans love that, if someone were to tell you to stop doing that kind of humor, um because it's very derogatory, uh and if you think it's not that derogatory, then I think you should kind of stick to your own terms. Yes, maybe calm it down a bit, but besides that, I don't think you should fall to the pressure of other groups. If Red Velvet VA is watching this, you're not the police. You're basically no one. Am I basically no one? Yes, I am. I can admit that. But you are also no one. 40K followers on TikTok, and for what? You're not the police. Please know that. Uh, you don't need them to fall under you because at the end of the day, we're all human. I know that's just a very lame excuse, but yes, we all are human and we make mistakes. And maybe instead of making a quote unquote document and a much bigger quote unquote cease and desist letter, uh you're basically saying, hey, you're not doing this the way that I want you to. So I'm going to call you out on it and blast you on the internet. Which, if you ask me, isn't very cool. So enough of that. Enough of Red Velvet. I have more to talk about. These are some of my own personal thoughts. Uh, more or less just like specific opinions on the LOVA. I want to add that the LOVA is a voice impressionist server. It's not a voice acting server. If I were to say what the difference is that voice acting is a professional career. Um, it's a job that pays. It's an actual like job. That's what a voice actor is. And in the terms of the media that voice actors are in, I'd have to say that the difference is that voice actors are the character. One of my favorite examples is Ichigo from Bleach. I love Johnny Young Bosch's Ichigo. It's amazing. I would say I love Ichigo's voice actor. Um, if I were to do an impression of Ichigo, I wouldn't say, oh yeah, I'm Ichigo's voice actor. No, I would say I'm an Ichigo voice impressionist. So to sum it up, the voice actor is the original voice, the original person that plays the character. A voice impressionist is someone who imitates that voice. Another point I would like to bring is that to the moderation team, and I would say specifically Rin, from what I've seen, please, please, and I beg of you, please stop bringing the name of the LOVA with drama that does not like directly target the LOVA or any of its important staff and members. Because this was a huge problem that has happened recently, more recently. Um, this is mainly a message to Rin. Rin, please do not include yourself into drama that is not targeted at you per se. I understand if you want to add a like your own mind piece, but that should not be blasted onto the internet because I've gotten tired recently of getting like some ads from the LOVA server saying that there's more drama. And honestly, if it does not involve me directly, or if it doesn't, well, this is in my opinion, if it does not involve me as a person directly, or the LOVA as a group, then I don't think I would need to get involved. If it only if it's points at our moderation team, or our bigger content creators, or our owners, you should not get into drama. Okay, that was my message to bring. Um, and this next one might seem a bit like might seem a bit of like glaze, but I think that Stellar, whatever she wants to call herself, I think that she was a really important like pillar for the community to grow. Um, and I think after her break, things kind of went downhill in terms of like community and more specifically the content that was produced. Um, I don't know if any of you know this, but if you look at any of Stellar's edited videos, she edits really well. I'm not gonna lie, she does edit very well. But after she had her break, I don't think the LOVA knew how to understand itself, not understand itself, knew how to like operate better. And this is not to throw shade at any of the co-owners or stuff like that. In my wholehearted opinion, I think that Stella was a pillar for the community's growth. Uh, my fourth opinion, uh, I feel like they should the impressionist. I'm gonna call everybody who's in the voice acting space an impressionist because that's really what they are. Um, please like give them more time constraint on like becoming a voice actor because more often than not, I've seen people join the voice acting space and then immediately audition for a character and they get approved, which is like awesome. And then I've seen it too much too often. They do nothing in the server. I've seen some voice actors. They get the role early on and message the server like once every 4 months or so, which in my opinion is not good. Because sometimes we need voice actors present for like projects and stuff like that. And if a voice actor isn't present, then the whole thing is screwed. Have them spend like about a month or two, a month or two. I'm gonna say a two. Have them spend 2 months in the server for allowing them to like officially audition, because I feel like that is like the prime area where it's just like, okay, I understand the community, I understand its content. Now let me on to that big stage. Uh, Another point I would like to add is that uh, I think that there are the audition approvers. No hate to them, but I think the voices that are sometimes displayed onto the big screen, the live, the stuff like that, they don't oftentimes sound like the character. I'm gonna give you an example of a person who does sound like a good impression of the character. Well, more or less three. Cetro, Kira, and Saseo. All three of these, they are very good Izuku Midoriya impressionists, in my opinion. They really capture like Izuku Midoriya's like tone and voice. Maybe not the mannerism so much, but they do really feel like Izuku Midoriya. And I think that's the ceiling for this kind of stuff. And everybody else just sort of falls under it. I do have to admit that I also had some of my terrible auditions. I used to be Tenya Ito for the server. It turns out I think I did not have a very good Tenya Ito, because like, watching some old recordings, it was ass. I Tenya Ito was ass. I'm not gonna lie. And and I feel like there needs to be a bit more strictness towards like how a person sounds according to the character. Because at the end of the day, yes, you're catching the person's like attitude, mannerisms, tone, but you just don't sound like the character. Well, that was it for me. Rin, if you're watching this, please either take none of this seriously or take all of it seriously. There's no middle ground for this. And for everyone else, a bit of a shameless plug here, but I am working on another video. It's a Jujutsu Shenanigans based video. Uh, I'm probably going to go over like all of the characters and stuff like that. And so that's it for me for now. Uh, See ya.